Subscribe and click the bell icon for the latest updates and notifications from the Indian Express.
It was a bit more than 2 years back that Jeep launched the Compass in India, and that was the first made in India model from Jeep in the country. And in the recent years, the Compass was one of those cars which managed to gather a lot of hype before its launch. But as I said, that was about 2 years back, and Jeep is a brand that is known for its legendary off-road capability. But if the standard Compass isn't good enough for you, well, then Jeep has some good news, because say hello to the new Jeep Compass Trailhawk. Now, what is the Jeep Compass Trailhawk? Well, the Trailhawk is not just another variant with some external badging or some sticker changes. The Trailhawk is a Compass which pushes the off-road capabilities a few notches above. And that's the reason why we will not start off with telling you what are the on-road dynamics and what are the features or what's the design like. We start off in the natural habitat where you as a Jeep owner should get your Compass quite often. So now let's tell you what extra kit does the Jeep Compass Trailhawk get for better off-road capabilities. Well, of course, the first thing that comes up is ground clearance. It gets an additional 30 millimeters, which gives you better chances of getting over obstacles. In case you cannot get over an obstacle or you do end up scraping the underbelly, worry not, because the Compass Trailhawk comes with standard 4 skid plates to provide protection for the underbody. There's also a ruby red rear tow hook, and not only does this look cool, it can actually pull 1.5 times the gross vehicle weight. The black sticker that you see on the hood, well, that's just not there for show. It's an anti-glare decal, and this helps prevent windshield glare so that you can see where you're going, and that's very critical, especially when you're going off-road. The other key change that has been made to the Compass Trailhawk is the increase in the height of the air intake snorkel. So compared to the standard Compass where it's 720 millimeters, the Trailhawk gets it up to 840 millimeters, which means you can take on challenges in the water with more confidence. The Falcon Wild Peak tires too have been engineered to provide a good balance between on-road and off-road performance. They have improved sidewall protection as well, so that you do not end up damaging the alloy wheel while going off-road. With all these things discussed, the biggest change that needs to be talked about is the addition of the 4x4 low mode and the addition of the rock mode. Well, the 4x4 low mode is so impressive that you get a final 20:1 crawl ratio. In simple words, what this means is that even when you're doing as low as 5 kilometers per hour, you have almost the entire 350 Newton meters of torque at your disposal to push you out of tricky situations. Other key features include the hill start assist and the hill descent control, and the latter comes in quite handy in off-road conditions, and as you can see in the video, we did use it to have a lot of fun, especially when getting down inclines. So now we're down to the most exciting and the toughest part of the off-road drive today, and I'm sure you'll have fun watching it. Let's talk about the performance in the new Trailhawk. Well, in terms of powertrain, you get the same engine that powers the standard Jeep Compass. So it's a 2-liter turbocharged diesel engine. You get about 170 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque.
and that means that it is enough power to move around this vehicle still at a brisk pace.
Now, one of the most important things about this engine is that this is the first BS6 certified diesel engine in its segment, and it can run not only on BS6 fuel, but you can run it in present times on BS4 fuel as well without causing any harm to any of the powertrain components.
Now the biggest change in terms of powertrain is the addition of a new 9-speed automatic transmission. Now the 9-speed automatic transmission, like the name suggests, has 9 gears, and that means it of course improves fuel efficiency. But in terms of drivability, it is quite a nice gearbox. So if you're driving in traffic, you're driving out on the highway, your day-to-day driving or your highway runs are easily taken care of. The gearbox has been paired very nicely with the engine, and that means you get a very smooth and a comfortable drive. In regular driving conditions, be it anywhere, the transmission does not miss a beat. It works perfectly well. It's only when you're pushing it really hard. The other driving change in the overall driving package is the steering, and this steering has been tailor packaged for Indian conditions, and as a result of that, it works well, be it in tight parking spots, in traffic, or out on the twisties. The Trailhawk does get a new suspension, and of course there's a change in ride height as well because of the increased ground clearance. That means there is a perceivable difference in terms of ride quality too. In order to negate the body roll due to the extra height, there is added stiffness, and that can be felt easily, especially when you're tackling bad surfaces at slow speeds. You can feel the stiffness in the suspension. That said, it's not really uncomfortable. It will not bother you on most occasions, and when you're driving fast, well, of course, it just makes things better. In terms of handling, well, there's not much I have to complain. We've been driving the vehicle out on highways or across these twisties, and I've pretty much nothing to complain. It performs very well. The handling is really impressive. The grip is nice from the tires, and of course even the body roll has been controlled very well. So this is a vehicle that you can have a good amount of fun with. So now that you've seen the off-road capabilities of the Compass Trailhawk, it's time to tell you what are the changes in terms of design. Well, what you get here is a revised bumper up front, very good looking 17-inch alloy wheels with a different aspect ratio for the tires, and of course the grille up front has been closed up, so that just helps you in terms of water fording, so that gives you more off-road capability. You have this trail rated 4x4 badge here and a Trailhawk badge at the rear. Just like the exterior, even in the interiors, the Trailhawk gets some updates, but not a radical makeover. So the difference from the standard Compass here is that first you have an all black interior. The dashboard is completely blacked out, whereas in the standard Compass you get a dual tone one. The seats, again, you have this red stitching all around. You've got red accents on the speaker. There's one in the gear shift selector console, and of course in the surrounds for the instrument cluster. They also have the Trailhawk badging in the seats to make sure people know it's a Trailhawk and not a standard Compass. So now let's get down to features. What you get in terms of infotainment is an 8.4-inch touchscreen. It's a Uconnect system. The display is quite nice. The resolution is crisp. And the UI, again, the user interface also is quite simple and easy to use. The only slight complaint I have with the system is that the touch response isn't particularly quick. There is a hint of lag. It's not much, but it's just nitpicking. The other change is in the instrument cluster. So what you get here is a new 7-inch digital screen. Now this screen looks good. It's got good resolution, and of course in terms of information, it shows pretty much everything you would expect. So everything that the standard Compass has is here, but in addition there's a lot more. And because this is a BS6 model and it has an AdBlue tank, so what is the level of the AdBlue? Well, that is also something you can see on the screen right here. Apart from this, pretty much everything in the Trailhawk is the same. There are no major changes. So the space is the same in the front, at the rear, your boot volume is the same. And while the center console design is still the same, the slight change here is that the rotary dial, you have a new button which is for the 4-wheel drive, the low ratio, you can engage that. And of course, in terms of drive modes, you also have the addition of the rock mode, which again can only be activated when you have the low ratio selected. One nice bit about the cabin is the large panoramic sunroof. It just makes the cabin more airy and looks good, especially at night. So with all the changes discussed, well, what it misses out on, there are a few things. The seats are manually adjustable, so no option of electrically adjustable seats, and again no auto dimming rear view mirror as well. Again, it's a manual unit, and considering the fact that the Trailhawk is going to be more expensive than the Compass Limited Plus, these are features that we expected and most people would want them to be here. So to sum up things, well, the Jeep Compass Trailhawk is an immensely capable off-road vehicle, and overall as a package too, it is quite impressive. But who really should buy the Compass Trailhawk over the standard Compass? Well, if you are out in the market for a compact SUV and you want an SUV that you can drive to office daily, you can take your family out for weekend outings, and at the end of the day, you can also go for hardcore off-roading. And when I say hardcore off-roading, really tough off-roading, then my friends, that's where the Trailhawk comes into the equation, because if that's your requirement, the thing you see behind me is pretty much the best out right now. With that said, well, it's been a long while we've been out in the wilderness, and with that, we'll head back to civilization again.